I'll start with a quick review for this book, Human Diversity. I'll give this book 2 out of 5. Barely even got a 2. Almost got a 1. The reason is that even as the author speaks about the intention to write this book for the general audience, I see no evidence of that. Most of the book is technical, of p-values, d-values, and things like that. Really unnecessary. I really don't understand why he did such a thing. I never actually read a book that was incorporating that much statistical information. That is really hard. It's really hard and annoying to read that way. Even as a textbook, I would not read this book, even as a textbook, because even as a textbook, it's not interesting. As a reference book, maybe. So if you're looking for a reference book, that would be a good book for you to read. But other than that, I don't see a good reason. And it's too bad because it has some good ideas and good discussions in this book, which is too bad that he coded all this good ideas with uninteresting, very boring statistical information that no one wanted to hear of. I may understand why he tried to do that, because he had a previous book, The Bell Curve, which was really controversial. So he wanted to incorporate as much information and as much facts as possible into this book, so people can know that he's not just bullshitting things and just came up with some ideas without any background or without any proof. So that's the proof. But I think you could do a different job of bringing this proof into life without boring us all through 15 hours of worth of listening. I don't know how long is the book with pages, probably very long too. The book could be 5 hours, so it could be a third as long, and that would be interesting. And all the rest could be just an appendix or whatever, just a reference book or a reference part of the book. That would be much better. I don't know how his editor agreed to release this. That's it for the review part. Let's see some of the notes. It is hard for professors to say that biology plays a role. So sometimes it's extremely controversial, and many of them are or do not want to engage or say such a thing. According to one theory, men are more interested in how systems tick, while women are more interested in how humans tick, or empathy. So that's one theory, that men and women are, again, it's difference, but there is some differences. Obviously, it's on average. There is men and women that do not fall in either one. But overall, men are more interested in systems and women are more interested in how humans tick, or empathy. Different traits between the sexes are not superior to one another. They are just different. So I think it's a good emphasis to have there. Nothing is better than the other. It's just different. There's different interests, and it's not necessarily that one is better than the other. Side note, the book is unnecessarily technical, very technical. I haven't read any book so far that has so much technical information, and again, I think it's unnecessary. Differences between sexes are the same and often bigger between more and less advanced countries. So one of the ideas that in the more advanced country there is less differences between the sexes, but you actually have some data to support that in more advanced countries, the differences between the sexes are actually more than the less advanced countries. Females have better sensory skills while males have better visual skills, again, on average. They have better sensory skills and males have better visual skills, so eyes better and things that related to visuals. The differences in math skills between sexes is only the tools being used. Women use more verbal, men are more visuals. That's the difference in math skills. They're mostly the same, I think. That's the idea there. But the differences is how or what tools are being used. Women are using more verbal skills, while men are using more visual skills to solve math problems. People tend to do what they do the best. That's what the inclination of everyone eventually is, to do what they're doing the best. And that's also men and women eventually fall into what they're doing the best. On average, men are interested in things and women are interested in people. So again, it's an average. That's the idea even in his book, that men are more interested in things, similar to systems, and women are more interested in people. Genotype is the influence of genes, while phenotype is the influence of genes and the environment. And just for reference, genotype is just genes, the influence of the gene, and the phenotype is both genes and the environment, what's the influence of both have. Among more developed countries, women tend to be even more represented in people-related jobs. That's the similar idea we spoke before. In more advanced countries, women are more represented in healthcare and people-related jobs than the less advanced countries. Interesting data. Women tend to remember more details of an event, while men remember just the summary of it. Interesting distinction. Women have more recollection of events, more details, and men tend to remember just the gist of it. He calls it the gist of it, just the summary of it. The part of the brain that is responsible for sexuality tend to be bigger among men. So it's just a little part that is bigger among men versus among women. Side note, introductions are way too long in the book. There's like very long introductions. Some of them are, again, incorporated some technical information. One problem with the twin studies is that similar people are treated similarly and tend to choose things similarly. Things such as height, weight, etc. So they have a lot of twin studies, which shows that genetics plays a huge role. But one of the problems with those studies is that similar people tend to be treated similarly by whoever takes care of them, and tend to choose differently things such as height. So a person who is tall is more likely to marry a tall person. Same things with weight, and therefore finding that both twins are wanting to marry someone tall doesn't mean that genes plays a role. There is some problems in those studies. Shared environment seems to have a very low correlation with IQ. So I think that's a shared environment is the parents. Shared environment is the home environment, basically. And it doesn't have any correlation, or like very low correlation, with IQ levels. Life is an IQ test. Intelligence can be shown in a daily life activities, not by book smarts. People think it's like the more you read, the more IQ you have, but it's not like that. IQ is more like as a life test, how well you do in the daily activities. IQ seems to be heritable and is good predictive of career success. It has some relation to IQ is heritable, and according to studies is predictive of career success. Non-shared environment has big influence on an individual life. The non-shared environment, so the rest, I think it's friends and other places, have big influence on the individual life. Talent is a matter of luck. You can't develop it much, according to the book. And it's a matter of luck, but you get it or not, genes and things like that. Changing human nature is extremely hard and often does not work. It's really hard to change the nature or the genes of a person. Changing nature on a large scale is unrealistic. People tend to fall to their baseline. Change cannot be sustained permanently, only temporarily. So it's the similar idea. Changing nature is, especially in a large scale, is unrealistic. So for example, raising IQ for many people is unrealistic, since people are falling to their baseline. It's really hard to get out of a loop, basically. It cannot be sustained. You can do something temporarily, can be done, but cannot be done permanently. According to one theory, there is more variance among men, since women choose who to mate with. Better traits cause more competition that cause more variance. More variance is just the tails of the bell curve. So more low IQ and more higher IQs. So there is, according to the book, there is more variance among men. And one of the theories are that since women choose who to mate with, men are competing. There's more competition among men that creates more variance. Most females are able to have offsprings, while 20% of men ended up without. So it's good, interesting information. About 20% of men are not having any offsprings, while very low numbers of women do. Only that's because they're infertile or something like that, but it's a very low numbers. While men, it's not about infertility, it's just they don't have partners. So which is also related to the idea of that men are more competitive in some ways. Some lose the competition, basically. So that's the idea of the book. Not recommending the book. I wish he would do a better job of writing. It's a problem, is got himself too deep into academic ideas and forgot how to write, or to whom he writes. His editor should also be blamed for this, I think. Should not let this book go out. That's it. Thank you.